Welcome to Fusion Tonight, when we take our passions outside of the church and use them to benefit other people. We're living into our life's purpose. Our guest tonight is Richard Congdon from Prairie Parkway Garden. Now scream and yell and jump up and down for our host, Mr. John Cooper.
Welcome to Fusion Tonight. I'm your host, John Cooper. How are we doing tonight?
Yeah.
Woo! It's good to see everybody. You're going to notice tonight my voice is a little weird. I'm probably going to be coughing throughout. I'm getting over a really, really nasty cold. Not COVID. They tested me twice. Always a treat. Love being tested for COVID. Love being tested for influenza and strep and all of that. None of those things, just sick. So fear not. And if you're looking for encouraging news, true story, doctors said they haven't seen a positive COVID test in 2 weeks. So that was welcome news. I was like, great. I hope I'm not the first one in 2 weeks. And I was not. So we have a fantastic show tonight. I'm super, super excited. Around Christmas time, he looks a lot like Santa Claus. In the off season, he looks a little bit more like a gardener. Richard Congdon is our guest tonight. And he is going to be talking about a new personal ministry that he's been doing, and it is super neat. I'm super excited for him to share that with you, and so you can learn everything that he's been up to. These retired guys have a lot of free time, and they do a lot of cool things. So, yes. Sam Barr, he's like, I can't wait.
7 days.
Yes. 7 days. Retiring with dark brown hair. Man, good for you. Good for you, man. That's amazing. So, fantastic show for you tonight. So, let's get it started. All right, we now are going to go into our open mic time. If you're not familiar with Fusion Tonight, this looks a lot like Joys and Concerns. So this is your chance to lift up anything and everything that is on your heart and your mind, anything that you want to pray about, be about, share with the group. We're here for it all. Life is full of ups and downs, so anything you want to share, we'd love to hear it. So with that, open mic time is open. Zari.
Next week I might host Fusion.
Yes. Pending parental approval, Zari is looking to host Fusion Tonight next week. So she will be our first ever youth to host the show from start to finish, as opposed to just doing quirky guest spots. So I'm excited about that, and we can always use more hosts, so I'm excited for that. So thank you for stepping up, Zari. That's incredible. Jake, was your hand up? Nope. No, he's just stretching back there. Anybody else? It's all right if it's quiet. Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody in the lights. Lauren.
So my sister's niece is 5 months old. She's at Stanford University recovering from a 16-hour heart surgery. They'll be there for probably a month or so. So just prayers for her and her parents and grandparents and everybody involved that the healing is complete.
Yes. And you said this is your niece, and how old is she?
My brother-in-law's niece, and she's
5 months old. So we're praying for a 5-month-old recovering from heart surgery, and prayers for speedy recovery, that the surgery was a success, and that everybody can get home soon and get back to life in a more normal way. Anybody else in the audience? I'd like to lift up my own joy. Potty training has not been easy with our son, but for the last week, he has been in underwear, and it has been amazing. Did he pee on me today? Yes, he did. But for the most part, it has been a success this go around. He just started a new daycare this week, so we're potty training. We're at a new daycare. A lot going on, but he's handling it like a champ. So we're blessed, and we're thankful that things are not blowing up in our face, even if they are leaking onto my favorite coat.
Host John.
Yes.
During my other season that you mentioned earlier, I sometimes have helped with potty training. You know, I can bribe as Santa Claus. I can bribe kids somewhat, and I have had some success doing that.
We might have to use you, Santa. We might have to take advantage of that. Have you? No phone call. He's showing up in that suit. You poop, and you poop right now. Ho, ho, ho. Fantastic. All right. Well, Zari, your hand's up again.
Chelsea is doing a play tomorrow.
Awesome. So Chelsea Jones doing a play tomorrow, so that's exciting stuff. So I just learned that the phrase break a leg stems from wanting people to get cast. Like there's some weird thing with that. So I hope she breaks a leg and does well. Awesome. I didn't want to say just like break a leg. It just feels weird. Like I hope you get horribly injured on your big day. All right, if no one has anything, let us bow our heads and be in a time of prayer. Gracious and Holy Father, we're so blessed to once again be able to gather in this space, to be with one another and to be with you as we take time to share all of the things happening in our lives and prepare ourselves to worship and hopefully continue to learn about ways that we can better ourselves and do more things to live in the image of your Son. Every week we try to bring on guests that have unique stories and unique things that they're doing in their lives, unique perspectives, so that we can fully appreciate just how different and wonderful we are, and we can see all the different ways that we can take steps and take them together to just be the best that we can be. So Lord, we're so thankful to be able to laugh and gather in this space. The last 2 years we have gone through this pandemic that has forced us apart, and it's always wonderful to look out and see such a full and lively group of people, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to once again worship in person. Being able to do it online and live stream has been an amazing technological feat for us to continue to receive your word and worship and feel connected to the church. But Lord, so many of us we're pining to get back to the normal, to be in person, to get back to the potlucks and doing communion in person and being able to take part in Sunday schools and all of the things that bring us together in a way that just listening to a sermon might not be able to. So Lord, as we gather tonight, as we prepare for the last 2 weeks of our Wacky Wednesdays, we ask that you just are with us tonight. You hear the prayers that we've lifted up, and you just continue to make your presence known to us and help us to get out of our house and make our presence known to each other in a way that can bring people closer to your Son. And as we pray for these things, we do so with the prayer that your Son taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, we now go into our offering time. We don't like to do a pass the plate here. Instead, we have 2 jars at each doorway, and as the offering video plays, this is your chance to stand up, stretch out, and make a donation as your heart calls you to do so. And so while that's happening, there'll be a video explaining this month's Mission of the Month, and I hope that you pray about it, and I hope that you give in a generous way that your heart calls you to do.
Reading is an essential life skill, and studies show that the earlier children learn to read, the more successful they are in school and in life. Helping young students develop good reading skills can change the story of their lives. Our neighbors at Lincoln Elementary School are our partner in education. Because of the pandemic, we have not been able to have our Reading Buddy partnership this year. But, First UMC friends, we can still help Lincoln students become good readers. We're working to continue our tradition of buying a book for every Lincoln School student this year. For some kids, it's the only book they own. Lincoln kids love the books we provide, and every year they bury us in thank you notes. And sometimes they even come over for a visit to say thanks for the books. You can support this great cause for the kids in our neighborhood by sending a check to the church office or by using the secure giving portal of our church website at aboutfirst.com/giving. Every dollar you give will have double impact because we'll match it through the Bill and Ione Zach Memorial Fund. Let's get these kids reading and change a child's story. Books for Lincoln Kids is our March mission of the month.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event. It's been a minute since he's been on the show. I'm super excited to have him here. He has been working on an awesome personal ministry in gardening, and I'm really excited for you to hear everything that entails. I don't want to spoil too much. I want to let him have the thunder because it's his, and I'm really excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Richard Congdon. He's not here yet. You got to keep clapping.
Right, yes. Buddy, put my stuff down here.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome,
Great.
Richard. Welcome. All right.
Fun to be here. I bet you are all anxious to get out gardening.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is. Well, I've been doing it for it's gardening for me is 12 months of the year. And particularly now with this new project that we got going 4 years ago, it's and each year it just blows up a little bit more. But I got started with this project a number of years ago when I was doing some gardening for the people at the Western Home with some of the older residents there, and the younger kids during the summer, they would come down and I'd teach a class about gardening, and then we would harvest the fruit and go inside and prepare a snack, a salsa or a smoothie or something with whatever was ready. And then the people at the Western Home would tell their stories to the kids about growing up on the farm and what it was like. And so when Unity Point called and said that they had 1.3 acres of land and they were tired of planting a prairie. It's on Prairie Parkway, and so they planted a prairie, but they didn't know how to manage it. And so they did nothing. And they said they were tired of having a weed patch. And I don't blame them. It was a weed patch because the prairies, have to be burned or they have to be mowed, and they didn't do anything. So they asked me what I might do with that. And I am a member of Lions Club, and I've been a Lion for almost 60 years, longer than Chris has been on Earth. And not by much, but a little. And one of the Lions Club's international focuses is, well, we have a number of them. We're all known for vision, and that's another whole world of interest. But vision and hunger, the environment, diabetes, and childhood cancer are our focus areas. And there's 1.5 million lions around the world, and we have given over billions of dollars away. But I thought, in 2013, I had a medical issue. I have diabetes. I'm a celiac. I have that, and the two kind of go hand in hand. But so I have funny diets, and I was managing my diabetes by walking, and walking 5 miles a day, and I developed a bone infection in my foot, which was a result of some peripheral vascular issues. So I had to go have treatment for that, and the treatment for it was I had to have a port put in my arm, and every morning at 7 o'clock I had to be at the hospital and have 3 hours of a infusion, and then I'd have to go have hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which was another 3 hours. And if you don't know what hyperbaric oxygen therapy is, it's like the old iron lung, where you are put in a tube and you die for 2.5 atmospheres. And for the next 2 hours, you have pure oxygen. And that circulates your blood better and gets the infusion to the extremities of your body better. And so for 42 straight days, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, I was at the hospital. You couldn't miss a day. And I watched some of the people that were there, and they lost some toes. I lost a toe. I had to have a toe taken, but I've watched people lose a feet. I watched a lady that was part of our infusion, or our hyperbaric group, lost part of her stomach and a kidney, and she ended up passing away. And I vowed at that point I was not going to go there. I was not going to go any worse. And so when this opportunity came up, I thought, yeah, I'm a master gardener. I can do this. And so I proposed to Unity Point Clinic that I make a diabetic-friendly garden where I teach people who have diabetes how to garden, and then we'll teach them how to use the produce that's in the garden. So the first year we started out with, I made some raised beds. I created this garden so that people would have exercise. That's part of treating diabetes. There are 7 factors, and one of them is exercise, and one of them is good nutrition, and another one is being in a happy place, having a good mental attitude. So the first year I created and built boxes. I got my Lions Club to build some boxes. I got a grant from Lions Clubs International for $6,000, and my own club came up with another 4, and I built boxes, as you can see on the screen over there. And my club members build them, and we filled them with dirt and, it's soil. Dirt's what's under your fingernails to gardeners, and soil is what we gardeners you plant in. And so we planted, and we had some participants that came, and we showed them how to garden. We had some happy times. We had some classes, or I taught classes on gardening. Then we talked about their diabetes. I had some people from Unity Point, the endocrinology department. Some of the educators would come down and would talk about the relationship of good nutrition to diabetes and the garden and the combination of things that we were doing. And then pandemic came, and it didn't stop us. We kept right on going through that. And a year ago, Unity Point said, this looks like it has some potential. What would happen if we gave you the 1.3 acres in the back? And I thought, well, gee whiz, where was this a number of years ago? This is almost, you can almost make a living doing that. That's a lot of land out there. And I loved to be play in the dirt. And so I created more, a new vision, and where we expanded the raised beds to a number of other raised beds. And I created a tomato field where I can grow several hundred tomatoes, but I teach people about different methods of growing the tomatoes, not just a regular cage or on the ground or whatever. I teach, or let them see opportunities for what's called a Florida weave, or for one of my favorite things is to put a rack up about 7 or 8 feet in the air and run a string down and grow a singular tomato stalk all the way up. That makes it easier for us older guys to pick the tomatoes because they're right there in front of you. But, and I'll tell you what, some of the best tomatoes are not red. And I grow all kinds of varieties of tomatoes. So I kept working with this and secured some other partners to go along with the Lions Club and with my vision for what we should do, and have a person who has become a good friend and of mine that's an exercise and a fitness person who is joined our group. And I have another person from UNI who is on the staff up there as a non professor, but is involved with what's called the CEE, which is the recycling part of the university. And she teaches how to do unusual things with what's ready in the garden. And I've had some amazing bowls of Asian noodles and some amazing herb pancakes. And so she is going to teach the gardening class. So now our classes this year, we have 10 classes that we offer. 7 of them are during in the 10 o'clock in the morning or at 6 at night, and those are free classes for an hour and a half. You come to the garden, and you can work, or you can come in the garden, and we'll have 15 minutes of stretching and exercise. We'll have about 45 minutes of me giving you a lesson in gardening, and then Jenny will come along and give you 45 minutes on how to cook something, and we'll actually take what's ready and we'll create some amazing dishes right there in front of you, and you'll get to eat that and see how great natural food is for you. Then we have 3 classes at night. These are for kind of a fundraiser. They're more expensive. They're 3-hour classes, where for 3 hours you get the same thing, only it's spread out longer, and we make more dishes, and we'll make, and you'll participate. We'll go inside and use the kitchen inside the clinic. So that's the classroom part. But then we have times when we have the volunteers that come and help us with the garden and manage it and help us keep it going. And that's where we work in small groups with people with diabetics, where and they're not just all diabetics. It's open to anybody who wants to have fun in a garden. This is not a community garden. We're not, but we come and you help us. We'll let you take some of it home, but we want to make sure we have enough for our classes. And then what we have share with the people the volunteers who help us. We work 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or whatever with the people with diabetes and try to talk about things. Well, no politics are allowed. And
that's a good rule. Don't want people throwing squash.
Well, they certainly could, yeah. Or worse yet, a watermelon. So we, this year, we've been fortunate that we have a 26-foot greenhouse that's going up. It's on the site. We're just waiting for the weather to change and the frost to get out of the ground to get our concrete pillars in. We have a garden shed that's going up. We have a doctor who wanted us to put a fruit orchard in, so he's paying us to put in 50 fruit trees and manage them, and that will add to all the things we can offer besides vegetables and working in the fruit and with the trees, because you're going to have to stretch, you're going to have to move. That's part of what we want people to do, is to get on their hands and knees and crawl around and get dirty and then have to push yourself up. And so we tell the older people, like Sam over here that's retired, that never get on your hands and knees without a bucket in front of you. There's nothing in the bucket, but you need it to push yourself up off the ground. Always know how you're going to get off the ground before you get on the ground. And we had, last week, I had a gentleman who has diabetes, and he was so moved by what we were going to do, he donated us a John Deere garden tractor.
Wow.
And that's a great gift because it will come with a trailer. And we haul, well, right now, sitting out there, I have 4 loads of mulch, dump truck loads of mulch, and I've got 2 loads of special soil coming next week. That all has to be distributed around. So not all of this is going to happen at once, and it hasn't yet, but it keeps growing and getting bigger. The class size gets bigger. But as I say, we have the organized class size, and then we have the weekly ones, the weekly times when the volunteers can come, or the participants can come, and we'll work with them and on a one-on-one basis. And so we hope we're making an impact in people's lives. And, you know, I got stewardship takes on different things and different looks. And I was raised in this church. I was fortunate to have grandparents, and my folks, my parents were here in this church, and I was this was our life. Believe it or not, I did not have television until I was a senior in high school. So the church was the center of our life. I was expected to go to church. I was expected to go to Sunday school. I was expected to go to Wednesday night church. I was expected to be an MYF. It wasn't, when I say expected, it wasn't a chore. It was what we did. It was this part of what life was. And doing that, you learn the values of serving. And I was fortunate that I had parents that were good examples. My mother was a Sunday school teacher and a Sunday school superintendent here. And I can tell you stories of several remodelings that we've gone on of what it was like way in the olden times, folks. My dad and mother were both involved in scouts that were connected with the church. When you could do that, that's not quite the thing to do this year or right now. And there were some active Sunday school classes of like Boardman Boosters that my parents were a part of. And they had some great times together and but they always were serving the church. And not only serving the church, like digging out the basement under the sanctuary, which I was a witness to and can tell you that story. But they would take care of our own. They demonstrated how the church would take care of its own people. We had some families who were large families who needed help, and the church made sure that they always had food and they always had clothing, and there were several families like that. And we didn't need the government to do that. We did it as a church, and that was the example. My dad went on to be on the school board, was president of the school board in Cedar Falls, and at one time he had his hand on just about every school or piece of property the school owned. At one time he either bought the land or was part of the decision-making on building the buildings around in the school system here. So I had this example of what serving was all about. And, you know, if you remember in First Samuel, talks about your heart, and that if you, what you do to me, as the Lord says, what you do to your brothers and your sisters, you do unto me. And that's what I think serving is about, and that's what it means to me, and that's why I am. One of the reasons I do what I do is I want to leave the world a better place. I want to help people who need some help, who need some motivation, and to try to do it in a different way than just preaching to them or giving them graphs or giving them papers. I want to say, forget that. You come out and you spend some time with me and with my team and with my Lions people that are focused on helping you. And we'll have a good summer, and we'll show you how to eat some good food, and how to have hopefully we'll make a difference in your life. And that's, you know, the founder of Lions Club has this quote that we use, is that you have to do something for someone else before you can do anything for yourself. And that's the way we serve. We serve, and that's the model of Lions Club, is that we serve. And that's the model that I think most people in this world want to do, is you want to serve. And so the values that I use in the garden are values that were instilled upon me when I was a youth at this church and by my parents. And so giving and stewardship sometimes is here at the church, and sometimes it's in other places, because you can reach people in other places, and sometimes not through brick and mortar. So that's kind of my story, John, in a short, condensed way.
Richard, that was perfect. I didn't have to ask you a single question. You ended right on time. I was getting worried. I was like, I can't cut him off. He's Santa Claus. This could backfire for me later. Richard, that's an incredible ministry. It really is. I was looking through the questions. I'm just going to flip them over because you answered every one of them. I mean, in short, if I were to summarize, you've created this wonderful place for people that are diabetic, where they can get exercise and promote their health. They can make good natural vegetables and fruit and food that they can eat, which is part of an essential diet. And they can be outside with other people that share their experience, which can fill them with joy, which is a huge part of them living long, healthy lives. For me, every single member in my dad's family has type 2 diabetes. And so I've just kind of reserved myself to the fact that, you know, when I'm older, it'll come for me, because it's come for everybody in my family. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going to have something to do and look forward to. I'm not a gardener now, but I look forward to learning about it, 30 years from now. But this is just such a wonderful ministry, and I love how this church has instilled that, what it means to serve and what it means to be stewards, and how, giving ourselves to our brothers and sisters the way Christ would, gave himself to us to serve and to help people live better lives and be happier and feel loved and feel cared for. And this is truly, truly remarkable what you're doing. And I'm thankful that you're doing it. I'm thankful that people are signing up to be a part of it. And I look forward to, like the vegetables, watching this ministry grow. So
I would just say one thing, that if you plant it, you will be more likely to eat it. And I just like to say, go on and look at our website. Chris has created a wonderful website for us at Prairie, for the Prairie Garden. It's called parkwaygarden.org. And there are places you can sign up there for the classes. And there are blogs that I've written about gardening, and we'll be adding them. There's some videos that I've made that we'll be adding as the summer goes on, because all of this is developing, and it's Unity Point is pushing us. The foundation and other people at Unity Point are anxious and are wanting us to make it bigger, I guess.
Well, we look forward to watching it grow. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Richard Congdon.
Thank you.
And as you go through your week, may you think about what service looks like in your life and find things that you're passionate about that you can share with others that might lift them up and might benefit them and benefit yourself as well. And just continue to spread love and joy everywhere you can, and just whatever you do, continue to please, please, please be Christ for one another. Have a great night. Thanks for coming.